Or have you ever had an MRI, or you know someone who had an MRI and there was something there that said degenerative disc disease? And I know that's a terrible word, especially that last part of the world word, it says disease on it. Um, and so the purpose of this YouTube live is to let everyone know of what degenerative disc disease is and how it gets there. So usually, what I tell my patients, you know, they'll come to my office and they'll bring an MRI report, and it says degenerative disc disease. And so, what is it? The caveat with the degenerative disc disease is that a lot of research about the spine is done on the lumbar spine, meaning the spine of the low back. And then there is some research of the cervical spine, which are bones of the neck, but there certainly isn't as much as for lumbar spine. And of course, anything of the thoracic spine, meaning the mid back, is very scarce. So, the information that I'm going to share with you in regards to what degenerative disc disease is, most of it has to do with studies from studies about the lumbar spine, the low back. However, we can infer a lot of the information that we learn about the lumbar spine to the bones of the neck, meaning cervical spine, and bones of the upper back, meaning thoracic spine. So, degenerative disc disease, how that comes about is basically a wear and tear of of a part of the spine, and in particular where the disc and the spine meet. So, where the and a lot of questions that I get about disc bulges, you know, a lot of that has to people think about has to do with the bones of the different parts of the spine and how they relate to each other, and that's what's causing the bulging disc. But actually, in regards to the bulging disc, a lot of that has more to do with the soft tissues around it because they actually have a stronger connection to the annular fibers of that disc rather than the position of the bones in and of itself. And I'll go into the annular disc part. So, going back to the degenerative disc disease, how that comes about is that so where the bones meet the disc, there's a interface between the bone and the disc, and it's called the end plate. And that end plate has a bunch of holes in it, and those holes at the end plate allow the passage of proteins and water. And so as you walk or move around using your spine, um, there's a squishing and expanding of that disc. And that disc, as it squeezes, it allows fluid and protein to pass out of the disc through the end plate into the spine. And when that disc decompresses, that allows water and proteins to pass through the end plate into the disc. And so what happens with the wear and tear of poor posture and or poor body mechanics or anything thereof, maybe something metabolic that may be related to diabetes, etc. What happens is that, or off-axis motion of the spine. What happens is the motion of of the spine and the disc actually start to sand down those holes. So here's what I mean. So we have disc, a spine, and we have the disc. Okay, and in between the disc, there's an interface of tissue, and that's called the end plate. So we're gonna look at the details of the end plate. And when we actually look at the end plate, so if we take the spine and we turn it like this, we will be looking at the vertebral body, which is relatively a circle, and it'll have all these holes. And these holes allow the passage of protein and water. And so what happens is when there's off-axis motion, meaning when we rotate, the spine doesn't spin on the point of axis. Instead, it's a little bit off, and it creates an arcing motion. That arcing motion will actually sand down those holes. And so what we get instead is, instead of having these normal size holes, what happens is some of the holes will actually sand away, so we get less holes. and the ones that exist get smaller, that are remaining get smaller. And of course, this happens over time. And as this is happening over time, because those holes are smaller, it only allows water to pass through, or more water rather than protein. And so, and that's because the molecule of water is only 3 molecules. It's very small compared to protein, which are made of many links of amino acids. Amino acids is made of more than 3 molecules. So these smaller holes certainly does not allow proteins to pass through, at least not as much as compared to the 3 molecule water. And these passive proteins are actually very important because these proteins are waste products within the disc, and it's also nutrients that go to the disc. And so, so with the sanding down of these holes at the end plate, what you mostly get is water passing in and out of the disc. And what happens as we get older is that our body dehydrates, right? And we see that as we get older, our skins wrinkle more, right? So that's a sign of dehydration. And of course, as we get into the graduate to the geriatric population, of course, our thirst gets less, etc. And so, and when we look at our skin, meaning our skin gets a little wrinkly, meaning less hydration into the epithelial tissue of what we observe with our eyes being skin, is likely that other parts of the body are also getting dehydrated. And in this case, when we're talking about the spine and the degenerative disc disease, the discs also get dehydrated. So what that means is, so as we're going on with our lives, this disc will actually swell with water. And as the years go by, when we age, the disc will dehydrate. There's less protein that was going in and out through the end plate to the disc. And what we actually get is through because of the dehydration of the disc, and there's less protein or healthy tissues of the disc height will actually get less. And so when the disc height get less, the bones above and below the disc actually come closer together. And that is the mechanism for degenerative disc disease.